At the conference, Min talked to Wilson with confidence, but Wilson says no, and Min just has to get up and go, has to turn communist, has to enlist the help of the countrymen to fight for the Viet Minh, had to kick out the French by doing all that they can, but the French were only kicked out by Japan, and then it was war against the Japanese that was fought very hard by the faithful Vietnamese, but there was help from America who tipped their hats in the Vietnam attempt to fight the Japs. Min takes the north and the British are on course to take the south, and then by word of mouth the French want Vietnam again because it is at the end of World War II, and US supports the French in what they are trying to do, but the Viet Minh refuse to go slack, and when they see the French they begin to attack, and the US gives $2.5 billion in support, but in the end it was the Viet Minh who owned the court. The French back out and Ho Chi Minh gives a shout, declares independence, but what difference does it make when nobody gives a shit? And in the end Vietnam is split by the Geneva Convention, which had the intention of there being an election in 2 years, but after that time there was only tears because Diem said no, that's it, the election is a no-show. Everyone knew Diem was a liar. A Buddhist monk even lit himself on fire in protest. For all those who could attest to Diem's corrupt leadership, as he was known to dip into money sent from across the seas and use it to control the Vietnamese, he put them in hamlets as a defense against the Viet Cong, but something was wrong because the conditions were bad and the Vietnamese lost everything they had when they moved, but it soothed the Prez, who began to send more troops in response to Westmoreland and his request for a helping hand to form the opposition to the Viet Cong called the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, where you had to kill enough people to amount to a good body count to make it seem like the US was winning, even though it was just the beginning of war. And the US suffers many attacks and booby traps, so they decide to use napalm, the firebomb, and Agent Orange, a defoliant, both meant to eliminate the trees so the US could win in a breeze. But that is not the case because the air is laced with drugs and the soldiers are high, depressed by the knowledge that they are going to die. And then the war hits home when people realize they are not alone in their opposition against the position that the US is in, killing so many Viet Minh, and so they rally together and speak out, they shout, they write songs against the dropping of bombs, but they are shut down by their own government, which is meant to be leading them to victory, but is instead keeping everything a mystery and continues to fight with all their might like nothing before. They draft people for the war. If you were 18 to 26, you could be the fix to the stalemate. It was not too late to win, but none of the hippies were in. They were dubs who just wanted peace and love. They were called the New Left and started to protest, and they couldn't be suppressed because free speech is what they preach. They can only be made to die like the innocent families living in My Lai. The war needs to stop. We can't drop any more bombs. But Johnson and his determination makes the policy of slow escalation. It is the Tet Offensive and the horrors of war that make people want to see no more. In a tough position, Wilson withdraws from the election and Kennedy wins, but not by a lot, and it doesn't matter because he gets shot, and the Democrats are split at their convention, allowing Nixon to win with Vietnamization. Maybe the war will come to an end, for Kissinger claims peace is at hand, but alas, Nixon goes mad, dropping 100,000 bombs in 11 days. It is so sad. When the troops are drawn out, they shake like an earthquake from all of the stress of the war and all of the gore, with bombs flying, people dying, children crying, and all of the horrible things they've seen and done. And it can't be fun returning home, but somehow feeling alone. The soldiers hit a wall and turn to alcohol. With so many dead, there is nothing to be said that can make up for that kind of loss. You just have to remember not to cross into other countries' foreign affairs because that's theirs. The Vietnamese only wanted to be free from the rule of another country. It was a deadly task, but was it too much to ask? And thus concludes the horrible story of the War Without Glory. Thank you.